Hello, thank you for checking by. Today I'll be sharing valuable tips to you, 5 important things that you need to do as a new immigrant in the UK. And as a new immigrant myself, sometime in 2019, I wished that I had someone who had been here for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years thereabouts, who understand the environment and the system better, who could walk me by the hand and say, oh, these are the things that you must do. This is step by step. This is the pros and cons associated with doing this as early as possible and all of that. Coming into a new country can be a lot of adventure, and then knowing the things to do and doing them, yeah, it's a good learning curve, but at the same time there are lots of mistakes that you get to make that you shouldn't have made if someone was there to guide you through. And that's what I'm aiming at giving you on this channel, and that is the tips I'm giving you today. Of course, I'm assuming that you have already settled your accommodation. If not, you can look out for my next set of posts where I'll be talking about the tips related to getting accommodation in the UK. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to get into it. So the first thing is to get thermal wears and winter jackets. So thermal wears are inner wears that we wear before we wear this, the outer clothes. And they help you to keep warm. And especially if you've come into the UK during the winter, the autumn season, or even the spring as well, it can be a lot of cold welcoming you, compared to if you were coming from a tropical region, most places in Africa, where it's mostly hot around the year. In the UK, it's mostly cold a lot of the months in the year. And in fact, even during the summer when it's seemingly hot, some days it can be quite hot, and the next day is going to be cold compared to, if you were back in your home country. So you really want to get thermal wears to keep you warm as much as possible when you're outside, and they're also useful when you're inside the house. Rather than turning on all the radiators, to keep the house warm, you can always just wear your thermal wears, and they keep you warm. And then the winter jackets, you definitely need them, when you have to go out, to different places. The UK can have a lot of wind, and the weather itself is cold. So winter jacket is something you don't want to joke about, especially during winter, autumn, and spring season. And then I'd advise that you make sure to shop around as much as possible so that you don't buy expensive jackets that is above your budget. An experience of a friend of mine when he came in, he came in much earlier than I did in 2019, and then when he came in, he was welcomed with a lot of cold. And then the next day, he went to shop, just one shop, and he said, you know what, I need the thickest jacket that you have in this shop. And then the person attended to him, gave him one jacket, and he paid £550 for one jacket. Yes, you heard me well, £550. And then a few months down the line, I came to the UK. We went out together, and then we were shopping from one retail store to another. And then I got my jacket for £25 for one. And he was shocked. Then later on, he told me his experience, out of a bit of shame, So I've bought one jacket for £550. So my advice to you is, when you want to get a winter jacket, shop around as much as possible. You can get it as cheap as maybe £25, £30. You can get it as much as £550 as well, depending on the brand. Just make sure you get one that fits into your budget. All right, that's it. So the next thing I'll talk about is download satellite navigation apps. So for people who are coming from developing countries, you probably may not have used your satellite navigation app, Satnavs, such as Google Maps, as often as you would have to use it in the UK here. Almost everyone in the UK does not know places as much. Wherever you're going to, you put your postcode into the map, and then it guides you through the places that you have to walk through or drive through, or even take buses. And I'm going to be talking in another video the tips that you need to have to know in respect of transportation in the UK. There are various apps. There's Google Maps, there's Siri, there's iPhone Maps, there's Waze, there's Citymapper. As a kind of preference, I would advise that you use Citymapper because it's very much helpful if you're walking rather than Google Maps. Personally, Google Maps has not been very helpful in walking, helping me to know if I'm going this direction or this direction. It's sometimes confusing, but Citymapper is a bit more helpful in that area. And as a newbie, if you're not driving yet, walking might be a lot of your means of transportation. So you really need a sat nav that is easy to use and wouldn't confuse you so much. So the next tips I'm going to give to you is to register with a GP. You definitely need to register with a GP if you have any health concerns or at any point in time you need medical attention. So to register with a GP, you go to NHS website and then you select find a GP around you. So you put in your postcode and it's going to list out all the GPs that are close to you. And some of them make it easy for you by just registering online, while some of them you would have to visit the GP their office and then get a form, fill the form and submit. And basically, I think you're just going to need your passport and then your utility bill to show your proof of address of where you're located. Okay, so you need to find a GP, register, and they will be giving, when you've completed that, maybe in a couple of days or weeks, they'll give you your NHS number. So that NHS number is held with NHS and it's going to contain all your health details and records throughout your lifetime in the UK. Okay, so that at any point in time, if you need it or you need to make reference to it, it's always available. And anytime you need to, even if you have emergencies or whatever, you need that NHS number. And the GP is also there to attend to any basic, and even significant issues that you may have with your health. Your first port of call is your GP, except in emergencies. I'm going to be giving more tips about health, the health system in the UK later in another video. The next thing I'm talking about is applying for provisional driving license. So if you plan to drive in the UK at any point in time, you definitely need to start from somewhere, which is applying for provisional driving license. With a provisional driving license, it entitles you to drive in the UK at any point in time, but you must have someone who has held their full driving license for at least 3 years. You must have the person by your side. And that basically helps you to, learn driving system in the UK, especially if you're coming from somewhere where they drive on the right. I mean, the driver's seat is on the left-hand side. But in the UK, the driver's seat is on the right hand of the car and they drive on the left. So that can be a lot of trouble for people who are coming from other countries to the UK with a different driving system. So you want to get on that ladder as soon as possible, because it can take as long as maybe 6 months, to finish through your whole process. And it can take as early as 3 months as well, depending on, the registration, how early you get it and all. So register for provisional driving license. And one of the benefits that you have as well, why I'm telling you to register for it now, is by the time you have to get your car and you do register for insurance on your car, the longer that you've held your provisional driving license for, the cheaper your insurance is going to be. And in the UK, you really want to reduce your living expenses. So that's one tip for you. The earlier you get into that process, the better for you. And then finally, the last tip here is find out where to buy things cheaply. Find out the various bargain shops that are around you. And the pros and cons. I mean, what are the things that are cheap buying from here and things that are cheap buying from another retail store? There are a lot of retail stores. There's retail, Tesco, Morrison's, Aldi, and all of that. In order of their premium, Tesco is a bit more expensive, and while Aldi, Lidl, Farm Foods, they are quite cheaper. So you really want to find out more about them. There are things that you can buy cheap and they are good quality from Aldi, from Lidl, compared to when you're buying from Tesco and the likes. You're probably paying premium for something you could have gotten cheaper for the same quality, okay? And there's bargain shops such as B&M, there's Savers, there's Poundland, where you can get things, in pound, £1, £2, things that are quite good for you to use in the house. And, there's a lot of DIYs that you can also buy. There are things that you don't necessarily have to get an artisan, or a few things spoil in the house and you have to get an artisan to fix. No, the UK is quite expensive. You're getting artisan. Okay, so you want to get things as cheap as possible. Find out the bargain shops. There are pound stores around you where you can get things as cheap as possible, and they are good stuffs. Okay, that's it from me today. Thank you again for watching this far. I really appreciate. If you find any of the tips very, very useful to you, please make sure to encourage and put it in the chat, and then click the like button, and make sure you're subscribing to this channel as well, and then click the bell so that you get notification as often as possible when I drop new videos. All right. Thank you once again. Make sure you're sharing the video to help those who will definitely need it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.